All right, guys, so we got to check in on Arizona, where nobody has a clue what the hell is currently going on, because apparently it's not election day in Arizona. It's always election week or month. So it seems, with this state that just can't figure out how to count votes for whatever reason, as we still have over 400,000 outstanding ballots to be counted in a razor-thin, tight race between Kari Lake and Katie Hobbs. Now, here's the thing, man. I am hoping and praying for Kari Lake to pull this out, okay? I think this is probably the one thing that can salvage the enthusiasm and the morale of the Republican base after a very, let's just say, mediocre midterm performance from the Republican Party. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure if you can call it mediocre. I mean, it is definitely subpar. So between that and the fact that we all know that there's an upcoming GOP civil war between Trump and Ron DeSantis, that the mainstream liberal media is going to just be talking about 24/7 as a way to distract from the Biden administration and the terrible job that him and the Democrats are doing at running this country. Yeah, not a whole lot of things to be excited for, okay? But I'm just saying, if Kari Lake can pull off this victory here, I think that is going to be something that will restore some excitement. And I hope that she can pull it out here, as it is expected. This is what's expected, guys. With 400-some thousand ballots left to be counted, it's expected that most of these ballots are going to break towards Kari Lake. She's about 32,000-ish ballots behind Katie Hobbs at this point. But again, the problem is that you have big counties like Maricopa County that, again, is just counting ballots at a snail's pace. And the worst part about it, guys, is that when you ask about, okay, what's going on here? Why is it taking us so long to count ballots? Especially when we saw a state like Florida count 3 million ballots in less than one night. Yeah, nobody has a clue what the hell is going on in Arizona. Take a look.
To see, national networks out there and their hosts saying, not being truthful about why it's taking this period of time, that's frustrating to these people back here who are doing an incredible job working through Veterans Day weekend, and then to have that spread out there nationally to raise yeah, I'm going to stand up for my state. I am going to stand up for my state. Maybe not everyone here is, but I am. We're doing things the right way. And I appreciate that you're all here, but we're not doing anything wrong at all. And that someone from here would suggest that we are doing something wrong, that's frustrating.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying is, don't ask questions, right? Don't ask questions. Don't question why in the world is it taking forever to count a few 100,000 ballots when we've seen states count millions of ballots in way less time. It does not make sense, especially after what happened in the 2020 election, for Arizona to continue to still have these problems. How hard can it be to count ballots? Right. Yes, I think it is fair to ask those questions. I think it is fair for people to be angry because we want to know the outcome of this race. We don't want to be talking about this race for weeks on end, okay? Because for whatever reason, you can't figure out how to count. Absolutely insane. But it does seem like we have counted enough to call one race that I was hoping that, maybe Blake Masters could make a comeback in, but it looks like he won't, which is the Senate race out in Arizona, as he was defeated by Mark Kelly. Okay, he was defeated by Mark Kelly. And it's been called, even though I don't think Blake Masters has officially conceded, but the hope was that he could ride the coattails of Kari Lake to potentially come back and defeat Mark Kelly in this race. However, again, the mainstream media outlets are basically saying that's not going to be possible at this point, even though he's only down 100 or so thousand votes. Again, we got about 400-some thousand votes outstanding. I mean, possibly it can flip. Again, if it's expected to break more, Republican, maybe he can win, but he's not getting the same margins that Kari Lake is, okay? He's not performing as well as she is. So maybe at this point, he is kind of too far behind to catch up. But he has spoke out on this, okay, after this projection came in, And he went on Tucker Carlson to go off on Mitch McConnell and to blame Mitch McConnell for his loss, because apparently Mitch McConnell decided to pull campaign funds from his race months leading up to the general election. Take a look.
At best, just incompetent. But you know what else is incompetent, Tucker? The establishment, right? The people who control the purse strings. Senate Leadership Fund, Mitch McConnell. McConnell decided to spend millions of dollars attacking a fellow Republican in Alaska instead of helping me defeat Senator Mark Kelly. Had he chosen to spend money in Arizona, this race would be over. We'd be celebrating a Senate majority right now. And so my message to the people of America, my message to actually the Republican senators, hopefully my future colleagues, let's not vote Mitch McConnell into leadership. He doesn't deserve to be majority leader or minority leader. You get a choice. You can stand with your constituents and stand with Americans, or you can stand for Mitch McConnell. Tucker, if I'm lucky enough to represent Arizona in the U.S. Senate next year, I think it's clear where I'll stand.
Let me just ask you really quick, why wouldn't, I mean, he spent money on primaries in Alaska. This is one of the big Senate races in the country, and he avoided it. Why wouldn't he support you, I wonder?
I will leave it to the viewer to decide whether it is just malice or whether it's gross incompetence. But clearly Mitch McConnell cares about Mitch McConnell and less about a Senate majority or the people of America. I think we need a change. That's why I ran for office. And one way or another, change is coming.
Amazing. Blake Masters, thank you so much.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes here, guys, that I have to explain to you so you can understand the GOP civil war that has always been, that people don't seem to want to acknowledge for some reason, as if there wasn't a GOP civil war when the Republicans opposed Trump's border wall, as if there wasn't a Republican civil war when Trump wanted an infrastructure bill and Mitch McConnell said no, as if there wasn't a GOP civil war when Trump repeatedly tried to pull out of the Middle East, places like Afghanistan, and the establishment, aka Mitch McConnell, said no. As if there wasn't a GOP civil war when Trump was pushing for $2,000 stimulus checks in the second stimulus package, and Mitch McConnell said no. Guys, there's always been a GOP civil war going on behind the scenes. It's just that nobody in the conservative space wants to really talk about it because it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. The establishment and Trump have never been on the same page, okay? And you're seeing this stuff play out with what is happening in the midterms, and people want to act surprised about it, but it's actually really not a surprise if you understand what's been going on, that Trump and Mitch McConnell have always been at odds with each other. Yes, they've worked together on things that have been great for this country. When they work together, wow, they're a great team, okay? Like, for example, what happened with the Supreme Court, that's a combination of Trump and Mitch McConnell working together. We've essentially locked down the Supreme Court in favor of conservatives for probably the next decade at least because of Trump and Mitch McConnell. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, when they're fighting against each other, they are really fighting because Mitch McConnell is the kingmaker of the Republican Party, okay? He's the one that calls the shots in regards to who gets elected, who does not get elected. Those are just the facts, okay? Which means that he has most of the money, okay? His Senate leadership super PAC, that's where most of the money goes, okay? The guy is super connected. That is why he's the leader of the Republicans in the Senate. Trump is trying to be a kingmaker, okay? And a part of being a kingmaker is raising money and spending money and getting candidates elected. That is what Trump is trying to do. And Trump's, a lot of his candidates, he had a great record in the primaries in regards to picking candidates because the base of the Republican Party is aligned with Trump. Now, Mitch McConnell is facing a lot of criticism because Mitch McConnell strategically decided not to fund Trump candidates in the Senate. So basically candidates, Trump candidates that won primaries, that the people elected, that Mitch McConnell didn't like because they want to basically kick Mitch McConnell out of leadership. They don't support Mitch being leader anymore, just like Trump doesn't support Mitch being leader. He decided not to spend money on them, right? One of them was Blake Masters, which like 2 months before the election, back in August, Mitch McConnell decided to cancel, I think, $7, $8, $9 million in campaign ad spending for Blake Masters. In a tight race like what happened in Arizona, that's kind of a big deal, okay? He also decided to essentially do the same thing in New Hampshire. There was a Trump-backed candidate that won the primaries that Mitch McConnell spent money against, okay, to fund a more moderate candidate. The Trump candidate won, and then he said, you know what, I'm not going to fund him in New Hampshire, right? So he didn't spend money there, but he decided to spend money trying to tank a guy in the Missouri GOP primary that they were afraid would get a Trump endorsement. They spent money there. They spent money in the Alabama GOP primary against Mo Brooks, who wants Mitch McConnell out of leadership. And they also spent money on the Alaska general election race, which is being led by two Republicans. Okay, you have Kelly Tshibaka, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and then you have Lisa Murkowski. Lisa Murkowski is supported by the establishment. Kelly is supported by Trump. Mitch McConnell spent money against the Trump candidate because he doesn't want Lisa Murkowski to lose her seat, even though she voted against Brett Kavanaugh being confirmed to the Supreme Court. And also the whole party does not really like her, right? So again, he spent money on a Republican against a Republican in a general race in Alaska, okay? He spent money there, but he chose not to send money to Blake Masters and to New Hampshire, where you could have had a more competitive general election race, okay, where you actually could have flipped some seats. There was no possibility of flipping the seat in Alaska. He just wanted his woman to win. So, I mean, those spending decisions are absolutely inexcusable. And that is why you're seeing people like Marco Rubio and Josh Hawley and others coming out against McConnell and basically saying, look, we need to push back our Senate leadership elections because we really don't know who we want to lead us, right? We don't necessarily think it should be a foregone conclusion to have Mitch McConnell be the leader like he's been basically since forever, okay? Plus, on top of that, we still have a Senate runoff race in Georgia, and basically picking the leader of the Senate without Herschel Walker, who could potentially win, is disenfranchising him, according to Marco Rubio. So what you're saying here is that you do have Republicans that are backlashing against Mitch McConnell, and for good reason. But I think more so than his sketchy decisions that he made in regards to spending, that seem to be downright childish, right? Because of the fact that, hey, these people don't want me to be leader, and they also are backed by Trump. I think the problem with Mitch McConnell is that he does not provide a clear vision for the GOP. The best thing that Mitch McConnell can do is to oppose the Democrats' agenda, right? If I'm going to pick a politician that's going to oppose the Democrats' agenda, that's going to make sure Democrats have the hardest time ever getting anything done or getting anything accomplished, I'm going Mitch McConnell. Nobody is better at that than him, okay? And if I need to raise a whole bunch of money. But in regards to providing a vision and a direction for the GOP that is actually going to get people out to vote for the GOP because the GOP stands for something rather than just standing against the Democrats, he's a disaster at that, right? He's an absolute disaster. Nobody knows what Mitch McConnell actually stands for, right? He doesn't have a real vision for the party. Neither does Kevin McCarthy, right? The two guys that are the head of the GOP, nobody knows what they actually really stand for. Nobody knows what they're about. And that's the problem. When you have somebody in leadership, yes, I understand the strategic stuff. I do understand the kingmaker behind the scenes. I understand that. I get it. Money's everything in politics. But people's votes are what sends people to Congress. And if you can't get people to vote for you, if you can't provide a clear vision and policy direction that you want the country to go in, besides, well, I just want to oppose the Democrats, people don't have a real reason to come out and vote for you. They're not excited to come out and vote for you. You can only get so far having people come out simply to vote against their opponent. That didn't work in Pennsylvania, right? Where Republicans did not vote for Dr. Oz. They was like, look, we're going to vote against Fetterman because we really don't like Oz, okay? Yeah, that loses elections, okay? You need people to be excited about your candidate. For example, Trump gave people a vision that people can be excited about. People were excited to go out and vote for Trump. That's why he had so many people go out and vote for him. Same thing, Ron DeSantis. People are excited to vote for him. He has a vision. He has a clear vision. And that is how you rally the base. That is how you get turnout. There's nothing exciting about Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell and what they bring to the table at all. Okay? But again, these people are the people that are leading the party in Congress. We need new leadership because the Republicans in Congress, led by Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, don't have a clear policy vision for this country in regards to where we need to go. That's why we need new leadership. Okay. And I would like to see somebody like, Josh Hawley, who I think could put something together that Republicans can get behind, and also independents, and maybe swing some conservative Democrats. I would like to see somebody like him take over. Right now, they're trying to push Rick Scott, which again, hey, I guess at this point, let's try anybody except McConnell. But I'm just saying, Mitch McConnell is getting a whole lot of blame here for his petty decisions that he made down the stretch that I believe definitely cost the Republicans when we're talking about saving the Senate and having that red wave. But hey, he still gets to oppose Biden's agenda, right? With the way things stand right now, he can oppose Biden's agenda, and that's all he really cared about in the first place, right? And just making sure there's not too many Republicans that don't want him in leadership. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.